What's up, everybody? Welcome to this post-elimination chamber version of Not Your Average Mark Wrestling podcast. With me, as always, the young gun himself, Baby Bruss.
Baby bros.
Coming to us live from the state capital of Austin, Texas, we got Little Guapo. Behind the
What's up,
screens,
guys?
making the magic happen, we have the one and only The Guy.
The guy.
We'll take a quick second, say what's up. Great big old huge thank you to Ross and the guys from Labor 12 for our intro music. The album's called Monsters, the song's called Head Rush, and I'm gonna tell you what, it is just that. If you haven't heard the whole song, you can get it anywhere you get your streaming music. Check it out, it's absolutely awesome. So here we are, post-elimination chamber.
Yes, sir.
Elimination.
So we're gonna do a quick recap of what happened this
Very
week. We'll let you hit up Raw.
Okay, so for Raw, we had a heartfelt leading up to Elimination Chamber, Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn promo, kind of just building Sami up, shouting out the opportunity for Cody and Sami to go to WrestleMania together. Then there was Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Went exactly how you thought it went. Brock Lesnar beat everybody up. Bobby Lashley was being really huge.
You come in here, I'm gonna beat your ass.
And then, in my opinion, a very lackluster main event with Bianca Belair, because it was a match to see if Bayley and Becky could go to Elimination Chamber, but none of them won. So, like, what was the point? You know what I'm saying? But I guess it was nice to see Bianca Belair come back onto the stage, because it's been a minute since I've seen her in the ring. So it's good to give her a little more screen time before WrestleMania main event. And I mean, that was basically it. It was pretty much all build up for Elimination Chamber and that one match that meant nothing. So, big bro, how's it
Thanks.
going with SmackDown?
Well, we're just gonna
Oh, I
skip
thought
over
AEW was
AEW. or
last.
what?
It's a Wednesday night Dynamite.
Oh man, I keep forgetting. Wednesday night
Together,
Dynamite.
brother.
You know, Dynamite
Get
was
it
kind of the same
together.
thing. They're building up for the March 5th Revolution pay-per-view. Premium live event.
Premium live.
There were a lot
There
of
you
good
go.
matches to build.
Right.
Maybe the promo work from MJF. He brought Christopher Daniels into the ring and paid him an exorbitant amount of money to talk trash about Daniel Bryan, which he gave him his money back and told him Daniel Bryan is going to beat the crap out of you. For a Revolution.
So now,
Mike's right. You can't forget Mark Briscoe.
That's
is
true.
all
Mark
elite
Briscoe
now.
is all elite.
factual.
Did like seeing that.
Factual.
RIPJ.
So now, for the second time, big bro, what's going on with SmackDown?
It was pretty lackluster as well. There was a big Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Madcap Moss. It was a banger of a match. It was pretty good. Of course, Gunther won. Gunther's not losing that title anytime soon. There was a tag team match between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre and the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders looked pretty strong, but of course Drew and Sheamus still pulled it out. And then what are they called? The tag team that is the Street Profits ripoff.
Hit Row.
I don't even know.
Oh,
Hit Row. That's
yeah.
what they're called.
He is a ripoff, huh?
Hit Row was out there.
That's funny.
Yeah. Hit Row was, or one of the guys, I think Top Dollar was out there, and then Bray Wyatt
Yeah.
and Uncle Howdy came out and beat him down, and Bray Wyatt came out and said, "Whoever wins between Brock and Bobby, you better run." And that was, yeah. So that was that. I'm just waiting for them to unmask Howdy. I mean, it's very obvious. It's Bo Dallas.
Baby-
Yeah,
Just
see,
let
he
us
already
know.
knows. He
Mike,
already
see,
knows.
Mike already
Baby
knows.
brother.
It's very obvious. Bo
Not see
Dallas.
for Mike already
so,
knows. Bo Dallas.
Just to kind of touch on that
yeah.
Cody Sammy promo, saw what had to have been the funniest thing after that. It was a TikTok that was put out. You know, it showed the whole interaction between, do you think you can beat Roman Reigns and all that? And it cuts to Roman Reigns just sitting there shaking his head, saying, you know, if you need a pep rally to figure out if the two of you can beat me, You don't stand a chance.
It was so funny because it was put out by Roman Reigns,
uh,
and the caption for it was like, "I am him." So
Well,
now,
we get through here. We talk
Timothy.
we talk about the recap. Now let's talk about what we all really want to talk about. Last night's elimination chamber.
Before we get into that one, shout out to
oh
early
man,
birds in chat, ready to hear the recap, ready to hear about Elimination Chamber. Got a shout
uh,
out for Mike
appreciate all you
and
guys.
Milker calling me out. What's up, man?
Of course,
So
as always, Lady Guapo,
And
every
always
day,
Lady Guapo. Yeah,
appreciate it,
always,
appreciate
always.
it.
Mama Bruss sitting in there ready to keep the chat going.
So, as you said, Elimination
Wow.
Chamber, maybe one of the best hour and eight
Bang,
minutes I've ever seen. Like,
bang.
oh
Absolutely.
my goodness.
So we start out with the women's chamber match, and if you're watching last week, we all made our picks, and I'll be the first to say I was wrong on this one. He's he's the only one that got all of them right. So good on you, little Guapo.
Yeah, good job.
It was obvious. Yeah, 100%, baby. Undefeated.
So
Never lost.
in what I was concerned was going to be the slowest match of the night, turned out to be one of the best. I mean, there were some big moves. Liv did this sunset flip off the top,
Oh
off
my
the
gosh,
top
that
of
was
the
so
pile.
Oh my
cool.
gosh. That's
It was
crazy.
crazy.
We were already tripping
That
because
was crazy.
Nikki
That was a,
Cross got on not is that
Yeah,
her name? Yeah, Nikki Cross got on top and jumped on
yeah.
everybody. So when Liv Morgan also got on top, we were sitting there, we were like, hold up. In the women's match they're going crazy like this? Oh my gosh. And then as Mike said, Oscar for life, Buddy got it right. Or Papo got it right. And she
never got pinned.
just maybe
Oh,
we're gonna see a triple threat for the title.
hey, hold on. I think.
The guy said we got it fixed.
Yeah,
Okay,
Hey, appreciate
okay.
it,
We're
Milk,
we're
coming
back.
out.
yeah,
We're
the
live and
guy fixed
direct.
it.
Appreciate it. All right. Then next was the Edge and
Beth Phoenix.
Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. I actually almost forgot about that.
Next was
That
Brock.
was a great freaking match. We got to see what's up.
The chamber. I
Oh,
want to
All right,
okay.
discuss the
My
women's
bad.
chamber. I didn't get to.
go ahead.
I didn't get enough. Liv. I think everybody looked strong
Yeah.
except for Carmella. Really, Carmella. She. I mean, she played the cowardly heel perfect. But I I would give the entire pay per view an A plus. But the only I'm going to give it an A because there's two things. We'll get to the other thing. I hate how it was it was very rushed. I think the ending of it, it was like it was going on and then just
Yeah.
bam, bam, bam,
That
bam, bam,
I
chamber
agree.
was over.
Once
It was like,
yeah, I think
well,
once
what
Liv
just
Morgan got
but
eliminated, it just started moving really quick. But the pacing before that was very good.
that was my only complaint
And a
about the
fair
women's
complaint.
chamber. Once it started to go down, it
Uh,
was just bang, bang,
Other than
bang.
that,
It
like
was
I
over.
mean, that's something I really got to shout out. The women's matches so far, the modern women's matches have just been so good. Like I don't know. I thought that the women's matches are kind of a little less like intense. They're not less entertaining.
Oh,
They've
not
never been,
anymore.
but they've been less intense than the men's matches. But after that elimination chamber, I was like, man, these like it's solidified. These matches are high caliber.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people had Raquel Rodriguez winning, and I did not enjoy
I
watching her in the
agree.
ring. She's still very
She's
green
just
in her
not ready
career,
yet.
but
Not
it
ready for
was she,
all the hype. I
yeah.
agree.
I'll
Yeah,
I'll say she
but
looked in the ring,
she did
rushing
do
the
very
spot.
well highlighting Carmella and Oscar with that double kick or however when there's the pinballing back and forth. I thought that was pretty dope.
But On to the next
Ooh.
match. As Mike said in chat, Bobby and Brock,
Until it
great
wasn't.
match.
Yeah, I
That's
That's
mean,
how it was.
it was
I
going nuts.
I can't agree more, Mike. That was
It,
what?
Okay, so kind of hot take here with that. So for y'all that don't know, this whole feud with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley won the first one. Lesnar won the second one. And so they were like, "Oh, it's building up elimination chamber. We're gonna see who really wins it. The 2 out of 3. Who's got it? Who is the better man?" And after Bobby Lashley put Brock Lesnar in the Hurt Lock, he hit him with a low blow. Now we're not sure if it was by accident, he was just trying to kick his leg and he missed, or if he meant to do it. But it's what happened. Bell was called, and the general consensus I'm hearing from our not so average marks is that it wasn't very great.
No,
My hot take opinion is it's Smiley Brock, the beast incarnate, someone we have never seen do anything shallow ever in his career besides just overpowering people, hitting someone with a low blow. I don't know.
All right, I have to stop for a second and tell Mike. All right, so Mike's in the chat talking about Brock hit him with the Lobo because he thinks about him when he's in the bed with his wife. If you missed that promo
Oh
last
god,
week on Raw,
that was
that
funny.
was probably the best promo I've ever heard Brock cut.
And that's
oh
again
my
why I think
gosh,
it
that
was a
was
good,
hilarious.
because Lady Guapo was in the chat. Her reaction to watching that happen, she was like, "No, not Smiley Brock. No way he just did that." I think that's the reaction they were fishing for. So I mean, I don't know. Depending on, I think that they're setting something up. It just, I mean, again,
I mean, they're going to fight at Mania.
I'm never a fan of low blows, but I think they did what they wanted to with it.
All I know is last night was a terrible night to
I
be a
know that's
WWE
right.
That's the
referee.
truth.
But
Good lord.
I laughed so hard whenever he rang the bell and
He hit him.
Brock
He said,
pointed to the ref and was like,
"Come here, real
"Come
quick."
here." And the
Stupid.
ref changed. Why would you
All right,
go
You
so
saw
over
what he
there?
did to that table.
Or
here's my
there?
thing. Now, granted, the young
Yeah.
gun over here ain't been watching for as long as I have or as long as Little Guapo has. But when was the last time you saw a match called for a low blow?
Yeah.
I can't even tell you the last time I
Oh,
saw a
man.
match called for that.
So I
Yeah.
don't. That's what I'm saying is
No.
just the like sheer shock of especially Brock Lesnar doing that. I think was what they were going for. I think depending on where they go with it, it might have been a good move.
Now, something just a little off of that. From what I understand, reports I'm getting, Brock actually went a little bit off the script on that, and that he's put people through tables. The announce table is just smashed. It's all bad. Well, he takes the ref and he F5s him on what's supposed to be the table. The ref didn't know that was coming. That's why the fall looked so clumsy
Ah, I was
because
wondering about that.
Brock went off script again.
I thought the ref was just being really
Yeah.
dramatic about being scared, but that makes sense. So
But my big thing is, we talked about Friday and what Bray said. Uh, I just don't see where Bray fits into a
exact.
Brock Bobby
That's what we
feud.
were talking
It
about.
doesn't
Is
make
that
sense.
we were thinking. So, I actually don't remember what my call was for Brock and Bobby, but me and Dad were talking about. It was Brock. Yeah,
It,
that's what I thought. Is we were talking about it, and I
Brock.
was like, it makes sense. Like I think I called Brock to win. That's saying I was. You're right. I did call Brock to win. So, but seeing Bobby win is what makes the most sense because exactly what you said, the Bray feud and the Bobby feud, it just doesn't. They do not fit together. So that's why I'm saying they
Well,
might cook something into something very well, but I mean I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But I understand where y'all are coming from, saying the low blow was just not the move.
It wasn't.
I mean, I think I'm gonna give them the chance to cook, but
And
I'm pretty sure that they're gonna have to work real hard to make all of that fit.
yeah, because it made total sense
Yeah,
to me when Bray said that. Bray was going to do, uh, they're doing this whole Wyatt Six deal, and Bobby was going to put back, or MVP was going to put the Hurt Business back together. and it was going to be the Hurt Business versus
Be
Bray
nice.
Wyatt and his stable. Made total sense. Now you throw Brock into it,
Well,
and
and
where's that? It doesn't.
and not
I don't
only
know.
that,
It just doesn't
and
make sense.
and not to be the one to push this out there, but Brock wrestles like 3 matches a year, so you can't put Brock in a
In two
long
feuds.
feud with Bray Wyatt because he's not there. Not saying that's a bad thing, and wouldn't say that to his face, but
I wouldn't say anything to his
There's
face.
a lot of things I would
I would say
not.
they
Yeah,
would be like, "Yes, sir, boss man."
yeah. I don't think I would. Yeah, I would look the other way.
all
I
right.
wouldn't talk to
So
him.
we went out of that into what was another banger with Edge and his wife Beth Phoenix against Finn Balor and Mommy.
So also,
Finn Balor won. I
What?
just want that to be known. That I said Finn Balor won. That was a 3 count.
so yeah, we're
They missed
let's
the
get
three
into
count
that here
there.
in a second. One thing I do want to mention is, I mean, this happened at the Rumble, but seeing Beth Phoenix and Edge's tag team pose again is just, oh man, it's just so much
Looks
nostalgia. It
awesome.
looks so good still.
It does. It really does. Now,
And Edge didn't get yelled
that's
at
true.
this time
Yeah,
for
That's true.
SmackDown, but last time Edge did it,
So
he got yelled at.
the ending of the match, we're going to talk about the match, but I would just like to say, watching Edge hit that last spear, I'm pretty sure he injured at least 72 of Finn Balor's 87 freaking ab muscles.
yeah, that dude he's got like an extra line in there of just more abs. Like it's crazy.
He's
41.
41 years old too.
41.
That
You got
41
me
years
messed up,
old.
bro. I don't think I've like had that many ab muscles. Period. Just how many he's got in his freaking abs, dude. It was crazy. Mike got jokes today. That's funny.
Uh,
Well, to,
oh man,
to
yeah,
get into
that
the
it
match,
was.
though, I mean, it was
I
it was more than what was expected.
Yeah.
It there was a lot of Beth and Rhea, and I was expecting to see some,
I
but
was
I
about to
was
say
ready to see. I knew we were going to see Edge and Finn Balor go at it, and I knew we would see Beth and Rhea, but there was a whole lot of Beth
Yeah.
and Rhea, and it was really,
They
really
were they
good.
were definitely way more the
I would say
focus.
Beth
Oh,
Beth
Oh,
absolutely.
I
dominated the
completely
match.
agree.
I mean, I would say probably like 80% of the match. Beth was the uh,
The one doing the
person,
stuff. Yeah.
the person in the ring. Yeah,
Like yeah, that's
like
for that. I mean, yeah, that's actually
so.
Edge was like barely getting screen time in the ring, and
Yeah,
Isaac coming out saying Edge and Lita is a better duo.
I
After that last match, I don't think I could agree with them there.
I don't know. Lita
Yeah,
broke my boy Matt's heart. I
yeah,
can't even
she
forgive her for
belongs. She
that.
belongs with my
Can't
man.
ever
All
forgive her
right,
for that.
so of course Dom was out there, and I thought it was hilarious whenever Edge came after Dom, and Dom ran all the way up the ramp through the curtain.
He was gone.
What's funny is Edge like had just
Yeah.
clotheslined Finn, and Dom was already out of the screen. Like he was in the back already.
Oh,
Like Edge
To
was
quote,
not
speaking
catching him.
speaking of Dom doing something hilarious, the camera angle. Oh man, I wish we had a clip of it. It was so funny. The way the camera was set up, watching they had this super. It was really cool because Finn, Edge was laying down in the ring. Finn Balor was setting up on the top rope, ready to go hit a jump, and it was like the camera was zoomed out like perfectly behind him. You saw like his back. It was just so cool. I'm like, you dim that a little bit. That's like a WrestleMania hype picture right there. Like it's picture perfect frame. And you just see Beth Phoenix throwing Dominic up, and he's just like he's like, whoa! He hits the ropes and knocks Finn Balor down. I was mesmerized by the shot that they had of Finn Balor, seeing Dom's stupid face just jumping up. I was wheezing, bro. It was so funny. It was so funny.
it was good.
Oh man,
There was just good.
I was convinced. I was convinced when so at one point Rhea Ripley had Beth's head on the steps and was about to hit it with a chair. I was like ready in my heart for Rey
I
Mysterio's
know.
music to hit, and it
I
didn't,
thought
and I
what
was kind of
so we
sad.
were discussing this. I thought
But
when Dominic ran back up, or that Ray was gonna come out,
Right.
and when Dominic threw the brass knuckles to Rhea Ripley, we were like, "That's it. Ray is gonna see the foul play, and he's gonna come out."
I got to stop right there for a second. I'm going to address something said in the chat there. Mike says, "Are we ever going to see any real build up for Dom versus Ray?" I feel like it starts Monday.
It better.
If it's gonna be at Mania, it's
Scott
got to start Monday.
has
We're all us here on the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling podcast are pretty surprised that Ray has not come out at the Elimination Chamber. Like, we thought that was the time. We were convinced.
and I'll tell you, as of lately, I have loved watching Dom do anything that does not involve him wrestling. Because he's been doing great. I mean, the whole cowardly
Very
heel,
good.
Rhea Ripley's little chihuahua.
The announcers were even having fun with
he's
him that
doing
way.
really good. It's
He's-
funny. Yeah,
He is.
it's funny to watch. It's amusing. But then he
You're
gets
like,
in
"What
the
are you
ring,
doing, man?"
just like, all right,
And
what am I watching?
honestly, I feel like Lady Guapo may be right. She says Ray's going to pass the torch at Mania, and I really feel like that's the plan. Is Ray's going to pass the torch on to Dom after he beats the crap out of him.
Yeah. And again, Mike's right that they're running out of
As long
time to
as
do it.
Santos Escobar comes out and takes
And
the
burns
torch.
Dom with it.
It burns Dom, yeah. Also, to
Yes.
address
Santos
what
Escobar.
Lady Guapo say, she said I said something copywritten. Now, what are you talking about there? I don't
I'm
even.
talking about the WrestleMania picture. Yeah,
The
Gotcha.
clip. Yeah, the picture. He said,
We can't. Yeah, sorry, guys.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
We're
don't
gonna get
worry. Stay tuned.
Let me just Google search it on my phone. I'll put it.
Oh man.
All right, so that match, A+ match. For
Of
me.
course.
I enjoyed that match thoroughly.
Of course, Edge and Beth Phoenix took the
The
W.
finish
What?
had me. Yeah, I thought the.
Oh
finish
yeah, we
had
didn't
me.
even
I thought
discuss.
it
So
was over.
we were
I thought
also
Beth won.
laughing so
I
hard
thought
because
Beth won.
Beth Phoenix kind of missed her spot a little bit, and the ref was doing a hard 1,
Oh.
2, and then he gets there and he just stops for like a quarter of a second.
I mean,
Like
his
he
phone-
stops for a noticeable time.
Yeah.
His phone was ringing. He had to check it out.
So what we
camera's
said is
right
we
on.
saw him and he was going 1, 2, ice cream where? Oh man, he kicked out. That's like he heard
It
the
was-
music in the back. He had to check.
It was. I mean, it was a miss spot. It was an obvious miss spot, and they should have hit the camera somewhere else. But honestly, that didn't take away from the match enough
Yeah.
for me to not give that an A+.
Even with us who are like critical about how matches are working, we were still thoroughly like. I mean, obviously we took out for that second, or laughing pretty hard about how badly they messed that up. But it was still such an interesting match that we just forgot about it. So,
It was an awesome match.
which brings
I
us
loved
to
it.
the
event.
I can't say the main event actually. The men's elimination chamber match. Holy crap. What a freaking match.
Okay, so just to refresh everybody who didn't get a chance to see it, lay it on us. Who was in this match?
We had Seth Rollins and Johnny Gargano. They started it off. You had Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Austin Theory, and Montez Ford in the pods. And Gargano and Seth they
Oh,
did a
absolutely.
great job starting it off. I thought they did awesome. Theory did his job. He laid
Just
down
laying there,
most of the match. Took a
Got hit in the faces
yeah,
more
took some
than
super
I'm
kicks.
pretty sure he spent
Yeah.
about 70% of the match asking people to stop kicking him in the head.
I think everyone but Bronson Reed did, like more than once.
Bronson, well, I was going to say, Theory was the first person who got
Oh,
the wrath of Bronson. He was
Yeah.
standing next to his pod, and then they opened Reed's pod, and he just
yeah, believe me,
crazy.
I'm not saying that Bronson
Oh
didn't
my
mess him
God.
up. He didn't get that leg up. He just threw him down. I swear he dribbled
Facts.
him in one of those. I thought he bounced off of the ground.
I think one of my favorite spots with Austin Theory in this particular setup was whenever he ran and hid in one of the pods. And then Seth comes in the backside of it. Johnny Gargano
It
comes
was-
in the other side. They close the doors, and it looks like a fist fight in a. I think that's the way they said it. It looks like a fist fight in a phone booth.
It was so funny seeing Seth freaking Rollins sitting there in the door, just like, "How you doing?" just waiting on him. It was very funny. That's my thing.
That was
Seth Rollins
hilarious.
is a
Yeah.
hilarious wrestler. Not even on the mic. He is a
Oh,
funny wrestler.
Seth Rollins is my favorite wrestler, favorite active
I mean,
wrestler
that's
right
I
great
now. And
pick, man.
I can
is
go with that, but you can't count out Montez Ford.
Give
yeah,
him some
well,
time.
but yeah, I mean,
Montez Ford.
but
Speaking of Montez Ford,
yeah,
Hold on, let
Seth.
me finish.
Oh my, the spot. Just talking about comedy. Whenever Seth
oh
and Johnny
yeah,
were on the pod, when they were just sitting there, Seth looked at him. He was like, "So how you feeling?" He's like, "I'm all right." And they both just look away from each other, and then Seth
Back to
yeah.
slaps him
work.
like,
We
It
were
was
sitting,
funny.
yeah, they
It
were
was
both
hilarious."
fighting on both sides. They sat and they were just like,
Hey, how you doing?
"Hey, remember when we started this?
Yeah, man, it was good.
Kind of tired." Mink. It was so funny.
What?
But yeah, talking about Montez Ford, him hitting the
And it,
Spider-Man pose on top of the freaking, not on the side, climbing up on the side. My man was on the top of the elimination chamber, grabbing from the ropes, hanging down. It was so cool.
All right,
did a
so
little leap.
to kind of set up what he's talking about during the match, I think it was Damian Priest was going to throw him at the cell. You know that you got all your chain link right there and all your chains and everything. Well, he grabs onto it and climbs up, and then stops for a second, rests, and then looks up and climbs some more. So he's hanging upside down from the top of the cage,
Yeah,
and then flips through himself to where he looks like Spider-Man and just falls on everybody. It was
everyone. It
awesome.
was so cool. And
Not as awesome as the Hurricane Rana off the
oh
top of
my
the pod.
dude,
I
That
thought
dude.
I thought
was
Seth was going to
crazy.
powerbomb him. I did. I was
I
like, this
was
is not going to be good.
I was tripping because I
Yes.
was like, I also thought that Seth was gonna powerbomb him, and I was like, dude, there's a turnbuckle there. What are you doing? I was like, you can't powerbomb him.
Yeah.
And then he like paused for a second. I was like, what's going on? And he just flips him off. I was dumbfounded, bro, dumbfounded.
See, yeah. So my whole thought process there was he picked him up and I was like, there's no way he's gonna do this. Like they're too high,
Yeah,
he's gonna over rotate. Johnny's gonna break his neck. And then he turned towards the side. I was like, oh, he's gonna power bomb him on to everybody. They're gonna catch him. And then just again completely dumbfounded. I was completely dumbfounded by the fact that he flipped him over. I was like, how is Johnny
yeah.
Gargano not
Which
dead?
and
Like I was
this
convinced
is
he
Oh
this
was
is
yeah.
gonna
something
break his neck.
I'm gonna expound upon later. Is this pay per view really like highlighted, made me remember exactly what I love about wrestling. It was the fact that, and I mean, it's basically the foundation of our podcast, is that we we're not your average wrestling fan. We don't just be like, oh, he did the finisher. Like we think about and expect what's going to happen. Like you said, with oh, he's gonna power bomb him. That's what makes sense. That's what he's gonna do. They build up this formula, and then the times that they shatter it like they did multiple times this pay-per-view is what I love so much about wrestling, is seeing the ways that they tackle their different, the ways that they do something different than what you would think they would do.
Yeah, it
It was
Well,
was.
just
Oh man, it was
and to say
such
something
a
about
good
the
match.
technical side of it, you have six guys in a match where each one of them is allowing the other to shine a little bit. They're
yeah.
they're playing off of each other in a way that everybody's shining in this match. And honestly, to me, that's what made it such a good match.
Another technicality, speaking of technicality, that's another, Seth freaking Rollins, maybe one of the best technical wrestlers I've ever seen. He's so good. Like, I mean, like you saying that he's your favorite modern wrestler, there's zero qualms on my side about that. I completely understand where you're coming from. And now,
And that was
oh, his entrance
Oh,
is
oh,
all.
burn
The,
it
the
down.
crowd loved his entrance. They were singing it
oh,
the entire match.
I love the burn it down scream,
yeah,
but that's just that's the
Yeah.
rocker in me.
So
Before we move any further in this, I mean we all agree how great that match was. I'm gonna take just a brief time out. We've got some new followers. Want to say what's up to? We've got Amy Dyer 97. We've got NSF Mike.
yes, sir, Mike.
We got
appreciate you,
Poet
Amy.
6828.
Oh, there he is.
Good old Milker
The
41.
Milker 41.
Isaac B and Marissa. Thank all of you for following. We appreciate you guys.
Mm, Yeah,
Yes.
appreciate all you
And thank
guys.
y'all
Thank you.
for speaking up in the chat. I appreciate y'all. So, moving past that, I would like to talk about my what? What's up?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Yes, I'm still talking about the
Are
chamber
you done
match.
with the
Yeah, we're
chamber
not moving
match?
on yet. I want to
Okay.
talk about
Okay.
my
I thought
favorite,
you were moving on.
like, I think my favorite wrestler in that match, the guy I'd never heard of once in my life, Bronston Reed.
Bronson Reed was a big surprise for me.
Very big surprise. That was a
Yeah.
big man. So he comes out again, immediately creams Theory. Theory's gone for I think the entirety of Bronson being out because he just destroys him like that. Bronson comes out, is doing double power slams. He puts Seth Rollins and Johnny Gargano on his back, drops him down together.
Gets a
He's
Samoan
just
drop.
he's showing how big he is. And I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. Like, what he's out here messing up people. And it's like you said, they're the other wrestlers, Johnny Gargano and Seth Rollins especially, were really showing how good he is. Like they were
Mhm.
highlighting that.
There was not a single wrestler in that match yesterday who did not come out looking stronger than they did going out. Even though they lost,
Oh yeah,
everybody
then
looked
I've seen him.
stronger
And
out of
that's what
that
I
match.
was saying about it is
I mean,
you got some big names in there. I mean, you've got a couple of people in there you've seen with the world title on before. So
Damian Priest.
to have
Seth
talent of
Rollins.
that caliber helping new talent shine that way, that you can't help but get a good match out of that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
oh
And
yeah. And then of course, Theory
oh,
won. Spoiler alert: Theory
so
retained the
before
title,
we
guys.
before we head out off of Bronson Reed, I gotta say again, this is what made me be like, oh my gosh, this guy's awesome. Like I there was not a moment of Bronson Reed. This guy I'd never heard of, was the first time I've seen him. There was not a moment where I was like, oh well, there's that guy that I've never heard of before. I was like, oh okay, like he was proving his name to me, and the ending, not only did he come out and look at like a strong wrestler throwing down people like Seth Rollins and Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano, but at the end of his like time in the chamber, but right before he got eliminated, he had Johnny Gargano hit him with some moves, and then Seth Rollins hit him with some moves, then Montez Ford hit him with some moves, and then they all hit him with his finisher, and then he was still up. They all got, or no,
His kicks.
yeah, they all kicked
They
him.
all
Yes,
super kicked.
all three of them.
It was Ford kicked him, and then
And then
Ford
all three of
Gargano
them,
kicked
yes, it
him,
was
and then
so
Ford
dope. It
Gargano
was
and
so dope.
Rollins kicked him.
I was sitting there, I was like, this guy's dope. Like he made the match so awesome for all three of those other people and for himself, which is something that I can't say about many matches. That he made, not only did he make himself look good, but he made everyone around him look good.
That kid's gonna go places.
They were like, it was just
Yeah, it was
S plus
awesome.
wrestling, man. So
And now to the slimy heel finish. It was pretty much confirmed the injury to Montez Ford was a
oh,
spot.
okay. I
He
thought
did
he just
not
got
break.
knocked down.
Montez Ford, no, Montez Ford is hurt. They got to call people in, so the door is wide open. And Logan Paul runs out. He does his springboard lariat to Seth Rollins, and then he curb stomps Seth Rollins. And
One, two,
Theory goes for
three.
the
Yeah.
pin.
Theory does what Theory does.
1, 2, 3, slam the heel.
Which of course
And I think that's
that builds.
perfectly set up
Oh, that
Yeah.
match is
Rollins
gonna be
and
awesome,
Paul.
man. I really love like yeah, that's what's crazy. Logan Paul coming in
Logan
Logan
Paul
Paul
is
coming in is
exciting.
as he is just a really like for a newcomer is such a great wrestler, and Seth Rollins has got all the experience that he is an amazing wrestler. And what's crazy is that both of them together is just it skyrockets both of them. They just it's so weird. Their chemistry is so good. So getting to see that at WrestleMania,
Yeah,
ooh,
It's gonna be good.
that's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
an
a
amazing
really
yeah,
match.
good
it's
match.
gonna be awesome.
And I think this was like you said, this is the perfect setup to push that feud.
That's good to hear that Montez. That's what's crazy. Montez is doing things like an injury spot. You know, I mean, he's also like barely got a lot of screen time It's all been recent as opposed to of himself, not with the Street Profits, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
So we catch a couple of
So,
montages after that match, and it leads into the main event, the one that we've been waiting to see.
Oh man,
You got you've got the guy.
it was
Not no, not the guy, because we got
not the
we
guy.
got the guy.
We got the
not
guy.
our
You got
guy. Not our
WWE's
guy.
guy,
You got the.
and then you've got the hometown hero in Sami Zayn.
So, before the match started, I'm sitting there and I'm really interested. I'm curious because again, as not an average Mark, I'm sitting there like thinking about how they're gonna play the match out to make them both make it a main event match. Because you look at Roman Reigns, that man is a tank of a man. That like he is a unit. And then you see Sami Zayn, and he looks like a dude who started CrossFit 3 weeks ago. So you're like, so I'm sitting there, and I'm curious because I'm like, how are they gonna make someone? Because all the promos they've done to build him up, I'm like, the way that Sammy's been taking shots for Roman Reigns, the only real shot he's given back is a shot with the chair, and then he just got mollywopped. He's never been the guy who just comes out and messes people up
What do you get?
and can overpower Roman Reigns. What?
What do you get?
Wally mopped, obviously.
Wally Mock.
So I was like, Sami Zayn's not going to overpower the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And watching that match, oh my, chat, y'all are not ready for this. If you haven't seen the match, well, y'all are not ready for this. It was such a perfect match.
Us talking about it.
No,
it's not.
not at all.
enough. You have to watch that.
All right, so
It's
there
so good.
there were a few spots in there, and I feel like you and I are probably going to talk about the same one, so I'm going to let you go on it. But there were a few spots in this that made the entire match.
Oh man, like I said, dangerous night to
Two
be a
of
ref.
them.
Lost 2 refs in this match. So there was 6 matches and 3 refs down. So
New record.
dangerous day to be. We we got 2. Could have been 3 counts. Sammy should be the champion right now because it was 2
Oh my!
definite
It was
3 counts
crazy.
there.
The way that the refs did it, they hit him with the 1, 2, 3. Didn't hit it. I was like, oh really? Okay.
One of
Roman is really good at that
Yep.
2.99.
That's what's
kick out,
great.
but
That
he
was
whipped
like
it up.
almost everybody. Like Finn Balor did it well. Seth Rollins, Theory did it too. Seth Rollins is really good at it as well. And yeah, Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns, you're right, is like the best at it. But Seth Rollins was close all night. They were hitting some really close. Like I was like, wait a minute, they're gonna do it, and he kicked out.
so
Yeah, I was convinced. I was like, they're
Yeah,
gonna put the strap
so,
on Sammy.
Lil
and
Like,
not
Papa
just
this
once,
is
texted-
but
not
3 or 4 different times. It's like, is this it?
Yeah, so he actually texted me in the middle of the match. We were just having our play-by-play, texting back and forth, and he was like, "No way, oh my god, oh!" And he was just like freaking out. He's like, "I thought they were gonna put the strap on Sammy. There's no, I thought they were. I thought he had it right then and there. Like
I
it was
think
just
one
so
of my favorite
close."
spots of the night, though,
Oh,
was whenever, of course, Roman's got Sammy beat down, and they're out by the crowd, and he's just holding Sammy down and sitting there talking to his wife, talking about, I didn't want this. This is his fault. I didn't
Oh,
want to
wow.
do this. I wanted this.
I said I
Yes,
wanted
it
us
was
to be a
so- oh my-
family.
It was
He said,
such a story.
I wanted you to be.
It was
part of
crazy
my
because
family.
I've never seen anything like it. It was such a story driven match.
Oh, yeah.
It was so much more about the story than the match.
Okay. I texted Dad about this. That as far as the energy in the arena, it was very
Oh my,
Bodie
yes,
Rock-esque.
yes,
Like
yes.
the energy in there.
And
Was
speaking of that,
crazy.
the beginning of the match,
was-
first we're sitting there. I'm recording this, some of the match, just send it to my group chat because, just hyping it up. We got a couple of them in the chat just being like, oh my gosh, this Elimination Chamber is crazy. I had to take 8 different videos trying to catch where Sami Zayn comes in because Roman Reigns was just chilling out there. And it was so worth it because that pop in Sami Zayn's hometown,
Oh,
Oh my gosh, man!
It was
It
it
really
was
was
good.
like the return of the Undertaker in Raw 30, bro. It
Now,
was
uh,
it was a crazy pop.
the match went back and forth so many times, and you know, there were 3 or 4 times I thought they were going to put the strap on Sammy, but in the end, Roman did get the
So
win, but that wasn't the end of it. Um, we had a little run in there at the end from Jimmy. Jimmy comes up to do some help.
the
Absolutely,
pop for that
yes,
was
yeah,
very similar to
very
that.
close to that pop. But we had Jimmy come in, and the whole time I see Jimmy there, I'm going, bring in Jay, bring in Jay. This is the part where they bring in Jay, and I really wish they'd have gone a little further with that than they did there. But this has set up so many different things now.
it has. Before we
Uh,
talk about the end of the match, so we continue about that. I still just want to talk about not only was that waiting on Sami Zayn's intro took forever, before they started the match, just the crowd. It was so they were.
I think the I think the timer on it was like 6.5 minutes
It felt
before they
like
turned.
that, man. It really did.
They went like 6.5 minutes before
Because
they
and
locked
and I
up.
mean it was really like that's what I'm saying is why it was such a story driven match. Because yes, there were a couple times where I'm like, man, they still ain't wrestled. But they talked a little bit. The crowd just was going so crazy. Like it was a completely different energy than a match I felt before.
Well,
It was
Montreal is always an energetic crowd.
yeah, it is. And so I'm just sitting there. I'm like, and it's just building this excitement in me because I'm curious. I'm like, how are they gonna make Sami Zayn look good? And the crowd going as nuts they did is, I mean, the whole match was hinging on that fact.
Well, and I'm looking in the chat here, and Mike says Jay can't go to Canada because of his DUIs. You would think that, but no, he showed up. He was there.
Yeah, he got
Oh,
cleared.
he was
He got
there. He
cleared
was
just in
there.
the nick of time.
You never
Yeah.
finished the match. Jeez. That how at Money in the Bank when we were almost done, uh, it shut off on us and we had to wait
Yes,
like
Yeah.
35 minutes to watch the end. It did that to him.
I
I
guess
guess he
so.
never finished it.
Well, of course, you've got the back and forth between Roman and Sammy, and then you've got Jimmy and Jay show up. And so I really thought, we had the whole thing we had from Rumble where Roman hands Jay the chair, says, do it. And I'm like, okay, he could.
I thought he was
I
going to
honestly,
cream
I did
Sammy.
too. I wanted him to hit Roman,
I thought
but
he was
I
gonna hit
knew it
Roman.
wasn't going to happen. And I was thinking, man, he's going to hit Sammy. And then, Sammy comes through and is going to spear Roman. Roman gets out of the way. And of course, he spears Jay out of the ring.
Of course.
But leading, I mean, it was the same exact thing. So Jay had the chair, and then he dropped the chair. Roman picks up the chair and starts
Oh, and he
shoving
was.
Jay in the face. And you think it's about to happen, and then that's when
Yep.
Sammy speared Jay. Went to spear Roman,
Which
and Roman moved and speared
I mean,
Jay. And
crazy, crazy. I, I mean, I'm on this podcast because I feel like I know a thing or two about wrestling, but I was convinced there for a minute that Sami Zayn was going to get the strap. So when I saw Jay, when Roman started shoving him, I was like, Jay's gonna hit him. I saw Sammy coming up that split second that they had him in the camera running up for the spear. I was like, this is it. He's getting it. I was at that moment. I was 100% convinced. I was like, I don't know why, I don't know how, but Sami Zayn is fixing to get the strap. So it made the him spearing Jay even more. I was destroyed. I was crying. I was like, not really, but I was just so sad. I was like, no, he hit Jay.
Well,
he was
and
really crying.
it again, as much as you hate to see it go that way, it sets up so many things
It
moving
does.
forward.
It's
And of
exciting.
course, Roman takes the chair and just
As we
demolishes
said
Sami
before,
Zayn.
Wally Mop.
Obliterates.
And of course, you're in Montreal. You can't have a show in Montreal without Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens comes out to almost as big a pop as Sammy did,
Yeah, for real.
and he just obliterates everybody. And I really thought right there at the end, we were going to get the Sammy Kevin hug, they're gonna make up thing, but they just kind of looked at each other and went their separate ways.
It was nice though.
And that leaves so many different avenues that I'm excited to explore
Yeah,
when they start to when they start to go that way. I still think it's going to end up Usos and KO and Sammy. I still think
It's
it's going to
so
very
end up that way,
possible.
but it's
that's
exciting to
something
see how
else
they
that
get there.
they also made this elimination chamber so great is they have opened up. You know, they opened up a chance for a triple threat with Liv Morgan. You know, with the women's match. There's Logan Paul set up. It's a chance. Logan Paul and Seth Rollins set up. They've set up Bray and Brock and Bobby and Brock. I mean, they're still keeping it going. And now there's this with the Uso. They have so much to work with leading in to WrestleMania. And like I said, I was going to talk about this a little more before we get out of the match. The the part that made me realize I'm sitting there. So actually, before we talk about this, I had a friend who part of that group chat sent me a video after uh, after Sami Zayn lost. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but it was Milker41. He sent me a video and he's talking about, oh my god, I can't believe Sami Zayn actually lost. He was dumbfounded. So I want to play. I want to play this for a second, if I can find it anywhere.
Is it
It's not
copyrighted?
copywritten.
Can't
It's just a
copyright.
little.
Okay, well while he looks for that, I just want it to be known what Mike said in the chat. I said that to you like 3 days ago, 4 days ago.
What? Yeah,
Same idea.
yeah,
We're
you're
on the
right.
same
Yep.
wavelength there.
Yep. So this is what he had to say. Hold on. Fucking stupid. It's retarded. There's nothing interesting about it, bro. He, if y'all didn't hear that, he was not a fan of Jimmy coming out and hitting Sami Zayn. He was so upset about it. So, we're talking and he's just,
That's your average
that's your
mark right
average
there.
mark. That's your average mark.
Definitely
Yep.
That's
your
the
average
average
Looking
mark
at
mark.
you,
right there.
Milk. But the thing that made me really just like solidify, make me remember that spark that I had originally about wrestling was Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns finish. Roman Reigns sets up his Superman punch, he misses. Sami Zayn hits him, Roman Reigns is down. You think Sami Zayn's gonna come out, as not your average mark. I'm like, he's gonna hit his finisher. He's gonna hit his Helluva kick, and that they're gonna end the match with that, or he's gonna miss, and Roman Reigns is gonna spear him, and that's the formula, as I've talked about before. And then you just see Sammy, he's getting ready, doing the little build up that they have, corner to corner, and you just hear the crowd just roaring for their Montreal man, and then he sticks that fist up like Roman Reigns, cocks it back, ready for the Superman punch. That right there, that is what I love so much about wrestling, is they built their formula up, as Milker was also talking about, it's a scripted thing. So like, it's hard to enjoy sometimes because it's scripted. That right there is why I love it so much, is that they scripted it, You're like, oh, they just followed this formula, they hit the finisher, oh, he's done. Ding, 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 ring the bell. Not only was
What's
he setting up his finisher, but he stole somebody else's finisher, the big thing that ends the match, against him. And it's so cool. It's so pretty, man.
I, I got asked last night if I enjoy the fact because I was like, everything happened the way I thought it was going to happen as far as winners, and they were like, "Well, do you enjoy the fact that it's predictable?" And I would much rather a story be predictable and tell a good story than to be off the rails and just be
Good
terrible.
point.
So yes, this pay-per-view was somewhat predictable, but all of it, every single match, told an awesome story. But while it was somewhat predictable,
It
It
was
was a good
entertaining.
Yes,
story,
it was
good
all
match.
entertainment. That is a
Yes, exactly.
certified quote right there from not your average Mark, Lil Guapo FMX. That's him.
All right, so the whole thing, I give it an A. The only thing that keeps it from having an A plus is the low blow thing with Brock and Bobby. I can't with that. But moving past Elimination Chamber and looking forward to everything that it set up, we made the promise to everybody, and we're going to do it now. We're going to start a discussion about underrated wrestlers. And I'm looking at the chat and I see Mike talking about Jacob Fatu from MLW. And I'm glad he brings that up because the first one I'd like to talk about is also from MLW. Used to be in the WWE. Some of you may know him. Bada boom, realest guy in the room.
Really?
He
Really?
goes by Real One now. You may know him as Enzo Amore.
There he is.
He was one, just the crowd interaction from that kid, outstanding. He could get. I watched this video where I think it was the OC cut his mic, and they're like, the best thing that happened
Oh,
today is music to my ears. They cut your mic, so he's like, I got a mic right here. Starts yelling it, and the entire crowd is doing his entire intro, and it was awesome. So
yeah. I wish he would have got a singles push. Heard he was kind of a not enjoyable guy
Oh,
out of the ring, and I think that really hampered
see,
it. But
and
in the
he's
ring,
doing big
he
things in
was awesome.
MLW right now. I mean,
with with you see it with Jeff Hardy, you've seen it with the Usos, thinking that they're not going to be able to go to Canada. You know, do not take a page out of the books
Well, his
of. Well, yeah, it's not drug stuff.
I would say
Yeah,
that it's like
yeah,
Enzo's
no,
not
but
the same way.
just
He was
all
just kind of a
around, do
dude.
not take after some of these wrestlers outside of the ring, and take care of your business. Be a good Samaritan, and don't do drugs. What y'all doing? Come on now.
and with Enzo, or Real One as he is right now,
Okay,
um, not only is he
The
knocking it out
rapper.
with all the wrestling there in MLW, he's got an album out. Like
Yeah.
he's doing his own music too. So he's like double timing it, and everything he's doing is turning to gold. I would hope at some point maybe we might see a WWE return.
So, do you remember the song that you showed me from him?
oh,
I don't
The
remember the
title?
name of it.
Uh,
Yes, I do. It's called
you can't
Resurrected.
play
Go
it.
check it out.
yeah, it's a good song. Like it's actually a really good song.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I was going to bring up. He's already brought it up, so I'm gonna say it. Mike says Matt Cordona, also known as he was actually brought up on my Facebook. I made a post. Justin Dyer brought him up. My old hurdle buddy, my junior year of high school.
Woo
Zack
woo
Ryder.
woo.
Woo woo but now he goes by Matt Cordona on the Independents, and he is lighting it up. I mean, I really hope a W. I mean, there's been a lot of talks.
Mhm.
Chelsea Green's his wife, and Chelsea Green coming back to WWE. I'm only hoping that Matt Cordona transitions back to the WWE, and we could actually see him, you know, in his element because he was, he WWE
No,
wouldn't let him
Yeah.
be what he was, and now he is what. Same thing with Cody, like same thing that happened with Cody. He's established as this now, so you can't silence him now.
so I would, and
But
there was that moment when he got the belt in the ladder match when he was still in WWE. And that was a great moment for him. And they could have done so much with that.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They just kind of let it fizzle. And I really
It's
hate to
sad.
see that because he's such a good wrestler.
And especially you can see it now. It's really like I really hope that he does come back because I feel like maybe the WWE might be regretting now that he's letting him just kind of die out in a mid card become what he is now.
WWE has had a lot of, before it wasn't a big deal because where are you going to go? You're going to go to, Impact, which was, a dying wrestling brand. It's still
Anywhere
wrestling, but
near.
it's not.
Yeah.
It was no competition to WWE. But now you have, Ring of Honor, AEW together.
You
They
got
have other places
MLW.
they can
You've
go
got
and
it.
build a name
And,
for themselves.
you know, that's not even throwing out there New Japan and IGW.
Oh yeah. Like
I
there's
mean, there's
options now. Like you said, yeah, that is something that used to happen. Was WWE really had the monopoly on it? So again, I think Nick Cardona is really the one that highlighted showing Matt. So I don't know why I said Nick. Matt Cardona really is highlighting the I'm still able to shine even if WWE's not the way I'm going. So hopefully that'll shut down the WWE's just like, well, all these other ones are irrelevant. I'm hoping now that they'll realize that and try and push their people more.
all right. So I've put one out.
All right, well, let's hear one of your
So
underrated
what I
wrestlers,
gotta think
Mr.
about,
Russ.
for me, my most underrated wrestling pick by far, especially I grew up in the Attitude Era. I gotta say Christian. I gotta say it.
Yeah,
It's I,
yeah,
that is
that's a
that's my
banger
number
pick.
one, man. Is
Banger
you
movie.
think underrated wrestlers? That's immediately where my mind goes to. He was a part, especially in the Attitude Era. He was one of the biggest tag teams with Edge against the Dudley Boys, against the Hardy Boys. The tag title was just moving around with them, and Christian was just Edge got this huge push. He got a huge push. You see him now. He's still relevant today in the WWE, which Christian is still relevant now. But he in the WWE, Edge is still relevant. But Christian was always under Edge's shadow because of the tag team. But not even when they were in their everyone's in the ring matches, the tag team matches is where I got it. Is Christian is just in the ring with someone like Matt Hardy, and he's holding his own. He's doing cool moves, but everyone's just waiting on Edge to hit him with the spear and in the match, you know. But he was able to hold his own. He was able to be a part of one of the biggest tag teams at the time, but never got a push. Edge just like took his push and gave it to himself. I feel like Christian could have had
Well,
if he got the push, he could have had what Montez Ford has right now.
well, Christian, he did win the World Heavyweight Championship twice, and he was the ECW champion. But the big thing is, he never got
No,
Yes.
the push Edge did because Edge is, and it's just this weird thing with Vince. Edge is this, 6'5", 250 pound, good looking guy, and Christian's 6'2", 190
he's sidekick
pounds.
material.
Like, you know, yes, exactly. Vince McMahon just had this huge, like, hard on for anybody
Yeah.
over 6'5" and 250.
Yeah. That's how
So,
I feel about it, is that it's just
it,
yeah, you are right that I am kind of painting him to be like he didn't get anything. Christian did get a little bit of a push to keep him relevant in a big tag team, but he was just so heavily overshadowed by Edge that it's just everyone is they think of Christian and the first thing they think of is Edge.
Yeah. So when Christian went to
Yep.
TNA, it was Christian Cage, and he
He's doing
did
well.
so good because right around the same time, him and Kurt Angle both went to TNA, and that elevated TNA,
Yeah.
which is now Impact Wrestling. TNA, it used to be, you know, but uh, his first promo when he started, that's Christian. He was low key better than Edge
I
on the mic.
agree. I agree.
I would give him that. I would say he was better than Edge on the mic. And in the ring, I'd say they're about. I mean, they were both pretty pretty level in the ring. But all Edge had as far as a WWE push was the size and the looks,
Mhm.
and that's why he got a bigger push.
It
And
is.
I hate that
Mhm.
that's the
Absolutely, it
case.
is. So my next one is one that buddy of mine at work wanted to make sure we got in here, and I think we all agree on it, and that's the Miz.
Yes.
The Miz has been
Good
so
pick.
overlooked and left mid card for so long, and the man is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, he had some mini pushes, like he's done the Triple Crown twice, right? So I mean, he's had some mini pushes, but they have not used him for what he could be, in my opinion.
I honestly think his
And my thing
character,
is,
like in my opinion, his character became the mid card man. Like he always came out and it was just like, The Miz, really? Like that's how he was built for me for so long. And then after just seeing him continue going towards the modern era, I agree with what you're saying is that it's just he's doing good work. Like he doesn't deserve that impression, you know?
well, my thing with the Miz is he is so good. Like, you need a main event heel, and you don't have one right now.
He's got it.
Throw the Miz in there. He's gonna do good. You need somebody to have a U.S. Championship feud, make the U.S. Championship relevant. Throw the Miz in there. You need somebody to start a tag team, have some good tag team matches. Throw the Miz in there. He's gonna do great.
All
Like,
around.
You need a filler.
it's
You need to
awesome.
fill some time. Throw some Miz TV in there,
Yes, exactly,
and
exactly.
you really can't talk
Uh,
about
uh,
the Miz. This is kind of a twofer, I guess, because they're so much tied together. But you really can't talk about the Miz without talking about Dolph Ziggler also, because
Yeah.
their feud.
mhm.
I hate to put it this way, their feud elevated them both to the mid card, and neither one of them got the push they deserved. But I feel like the
Yep,
Miz is the one
exactly.
that really elevated Dolph Ziggler to where he got to.
Well, I don't know. I think because Ziggler was, he had that thing with Vicky
Yeah.
before.
That was a little whack.
Eh, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But he had that thing with Vicky, and Dolph is another same, like you said, too, for same thing. You need a main event guy. He could have been it. I don't think he
I
can,
agree.
but you need somebody. You need somebody anywhere on the card. He can fit that role, and that's all. You get on the mic. Whenever Randy Orton says you're the best
Oh
person
yeah.
he's worked with in
He
the ring,
does
that
absolutely.
means
Oh
a
yeah.
lot. That means a lot. And I just want to reach into the chat real quick. William Regal is no longer with AEW. He is backstage at WWE. And Isaac is 100% right. Matt Hardy was completely overshadowed by Jeff. His
Yeah, it's
entire same
still
thing as Edge
yeah,
and
Edge
Christian.
and I completed the same dynamic as Edge and Christian. The first thing people think of when they say Matt Hardy is Jeff Hardy. And I mean, for a while, I mean,
Yep.
especially as Jeff being my favorite wrestler, Matt being overshadowed, I was cool with it. I was like, he doesn't really do much. He really is basically a foil for Jeff, in my opinion. But that's how it was in the Attitude Era. But even in the Attitude Era, he was starting to build out of that into his own Matt Hardy. And then
V1,
they just completely
Matt
dropped
Hardy
him off
V1.
and didn't let that grow at all. And I was confused. I was like, he was working with good stuff. He was working with this hype.
When he went, go ahead.
He had a great feud before the whole Edge and Lita thing, and he had a great feud with MVP on SmackDown for the U.S. title, and then they won the tag team championships together. Which, go figure that. Poor booking, in my opinion, but they were feuding for the U.S. title, won the tag
And
titles together. How does
also
that
reaching
happen?
into
But
the chat with Mike, I agree with what he says about the broken Matt Hardy stuff, but at the same time,
Delete, delete.
delete,
at the
delete,
same time,
delete.
he finally broke out of. I mean, it was god awful, but he was able to break out from under Jeff's shadow and do his own thing.
But they just didn't give him a push for it. Like, he definitely deserved it.
But I want to uh, have the guy turn on his little camera.
What
Have
do
him give us an
you
Bring us
got?
underrated
something in,
wrestler.
guy.
The guy.
Uh,
Maybe
well,
to see the man with the plan, the
He
man, the
the
is.
myth, the
only
legend.
underrated wrestler I could come up with, and keep in mind I haven't watched wrestling for a very long time, uh, but Gold Dust was my underrated wrestler. Just
Gold dust.
he
Oh
Goldust.
man.
he played that character so well for so many years, and it just he never, in my opinion, he never got the spotlight that he deserved. It was, you got John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, with all those characters that have been in the wrestling scene for so long. Just Goldust was one of those guys for me. I know he took breaks here and there, but that was just that's what I came up with. So
Yeah, I completely agree that, Goldust came
That's
out. It was the same thing as The Miz for me. Is he came out and I was just like, it's Goldust. Like he did some cool things in the ring, but I was like, it's Goldust doing Goldust stuff. He didn't really like surprise me with anything because he basically, in my opinion, was just alone. Like he was just working with what he got. The WWE
uh,
gave him nothing but the matches.
Hunter. You won't remember this, but the first like real introduction I got to Gold Dust was a Booker T
Yep.
Gold Dust tag team, and it was the funniest thing I had ever seen at that moment in time. Like Booker T, it was very similar to the Rock and Sock
Oh,
connection, like how the Rock hated Mick Foley, but they eventually it was funny that he was like, "All right, I like you." It was the same thing. Booker T hated Gold Dust, and then they just kind of like grew on each other.
and
It
then
was really fun to watch.
oh
He he
He
he
does.
plays his
yeah,
role very
and
well.
but they didn't give him anything. Like it was like the WWE didn't know he existed
I
besides
mean,
booking him for matches.
they gave him a few things. Like when he started out, he had Marlena with him, and you know, just Terry Runnels, and he'd had a little thing with that. He had his tag team with Booker T. Uh, as a matter of fact, he tagged with a couple of other people, but it was always filler. It was
Yeah,
never
they didn't give him any
it was never
chance
main
to
event
shine.
status.
All
Like, it was just filler.
So one, who is the like more modern guy that was what is it, his son? Who is
Cody
It was Cody
Cody is his brother.
Stardust.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
Cody.
that's what I'm gonna bring up is Stardust. I didn't know what they would say. I thought there was one now that's like more recently that's related to him some way.
No.
But yeah, Stardust, that was to me, that was basically all that they gave him was the Stardust character, and that I feel like made Goldust just like solidified mid as opposed to being able to branch off as they just gave him a sidekick character but didn't give him a push either. So it was just two mid guys doing mid things. And it wasn't
Cody killed that
Yes, he did.
Yes,
Stardust role
that's
for
what I'm so
Absolutely.
both of them
WWE.
played their roles so well, but they didn't give them anything past mid card.
And now Cody's going to be going for the belt at
Yeah.
Mania and
WWE champion.
go.
You know, for the same thing Matt Cardona did. Went out and made
Exactly.
his name, and he came back and
So
he can't
you
tell us
heard
what
it here
he is
first with
anymore.
Lil Guapo. Matt Cardona coming back to WWE is deserved, and you're calling it to happen. We're setting it down right now. He's coming back. So thank
I
you to
think
the guy for coming out with that Goldust pick.
I think Goldust. I don't think he's wrestling as Goldust. I'm pretty sure WWE owns the name, but I
Yeah.
think he's still in AEW.
AEW,
So I mean,
Well, he
he's
deserves
out doing things
he is.
now. If I could be serious for a moment,
Oh my gosh.
we have to talk about the world's most boring wrestler, Lance Storm.
Yeah.
It's a reference to a Stone Cold thing for those of you that don't know. Lance Storm started off in WCW. He's the Canadian guy because every wrestling federation needs their token Canadian guys, and he is by far one of the most technical wrestlers out there. No questions about it. You put him and Dean Malenko in a match,
Mm.
and it's hold for hold for hold for hold. I mean, he was a great technical wrestler, but the guy had absolutely no charisma, zero,
Yeah.
none. And I think that's what held him back.
Yeah. Very good skill.
Yeah, and the fact that he was on the roster back then was,
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was so much. It was hard. Some of those mid card players in the early '90s, 2000s would be main event
Exactly. Yeah, that's
guys
something we haven't even
today.
mentioned. It's just
I
in the time of pretty much everyone we've mentioned, the people that they were around, the roster that they had was just so big that it was. I mean, it made it really hard for anybody to shine.
Talking about the technical aspects of Lance Storm, Mike's absolutely right. I mean, he comes from the dungeon, Stu
Yeah.
Hart's dungeon. I mean,
Yeah.
he was out there with
Prestigious
Jericho. He
background.
was out there with Benoit. Yeah, I
Oh
said Benoit.
gosh.
He was
Oh,
learning from Stu Hart. I mean,
Yes.
there's not a bigger name in wrestling training than Stu Hart's dungeon. I mean, that was it. So
Oh man.
the fact that he never got that push hurts. But I agree with you. It's because the roster was so stacked.
And you can't say that it's not possible with him and his low charisma is because they did it. They've done it with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns could barely hold his own. He got called out. John Cena called him out on his stick work. I feel like if they actually gave it to him, he could have been better. That could not have been an excuse.
I thought you were saying Roman
No, no,
Reigns
no,
has
no.
no
He
charisma
used
now.
to.
And I
He
was like,
used
all
to
right,
not,
bro,
but
Let's
now
let's
he's
kick you
you're
off the
reaching.
podcast.
now.
I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna be degraded to an average mark, but no, he got the push to where now he is a very looked forward to stick man. So you can't tell me it's not possible. So I definitely think he's one of the most deserving of it.
I've got to ask you. I'm gonna throw out one more just because I got to get y'all's opinion on it. Ron Killings,
Oh,
Little Jimmy's best friend, R-Truth. What are your thoughts?
Yes, sir.
our truth. Um, our truth is one of the funniest dudes I have
Yep.
ever seen.
He's
Oh my gosh! And his in ring work, he is exciting to watch in the ring. Do I think he could have ever been a main event guy? No,
I think I agree with you.
but
I don't think he could have been main event material. They might have, they
oh man,
might have done something, but
Yes, my
I think that he could have been way like ridiculously more relevant than he was. That he could have been just like a staple stick man, a staple ring guy to watch, to make mid card not so mid, like just a match to just look for. You're like, oh, there's that R True. Like, not someone that they're pushing really heavy, but just someone that people can sit down and enjoy. Because it was like you said, he is an enjoyable wrestler all around. It puts a smile on my face every time I watch him. He's just
really,
really
and I'm glad you
big
said
big
that
man.
because just a quick story about him that just kind of gives you what he was about and why I think he could have done bigger things than he did. Um, so everybody was talking backstage about nobody can break Brock Lesnar. Nobody can make him break character. The only person that's ever done it is The Undertaker, and he's the only one that's ever going to do it. R-Truth says, hold my beer.
Yeah.
So they're out, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar are out cutting a promo, and out walks R-Truth, and he gets in the ring, and he's got the 24/7 title on him. He says, I know you are a big, big, big man, but I can tell you guaranteed right now that I'm going to throw you over the top rope, Paul Heyman. And they look at each other, Brock and Paul, and they look back at him. He's like, that's right, I'm going to beat you in the Royal Rumble. And Brock just dies laughing. And Paul's like,
funny.
I'm not in the Rumble, you idiot. If you step into the Royal Rumble, you're stepping in with Brock Lesnar.
The
He looks at him and goes, you're not in it. He goes, no, I'm not in it. He's like, that's my bad. I am officially undeclaring for the Royal Rumble, and Brock's just in the corner dying.
He's laughing
Like,
so hard.
and that's what he could do. That was his thing.
So, speaking of real quick, something that we didn't touch on about the Elimination Chamber, let's talk about how Paul Heyman can definitely not sell getting hit anymore.
He can't
That
sell
man,
hitting anybody either. He
he
walks
he's
out,
like
he's all,
to Kevin Owens, and then got hit with the starter, and he was just like a weeble wobble, like one of those little.
there's a reason they call him the Paulus,
He just it
because that's what he looked like when he fell.
was so funny.
That was hilarious. That was
Milker, oh
hilarious.
man.
We know we sent some feelers out, throughout on social media throughout the week to kind of get some some underrated wrestlers from you guys. You know, a lot of the people in the chat have already given us some, but
I
my
do.
father over there has the list of some underrated who gave them,
Just a real quick rundown.
we'll kind of
We're gonna
touch
run
on
through.
them.
Of course,
You
we've
know,
got Mike who's here in the chat, and he's thrown out Lance Storm, William Regal, Bam Bam Bigelow, the 300-pound man who could dive off the top rope like it was nothing. Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn.
Ooh,
We
that's a
we
good
could spend
pick,
a whole
Mike.
podcast talking about Jerry Lynn. We've got Isaac. Isaac said Scotty Too Hottie and Rikishi. Too cool.
Rikishi,
Especially with the
100%.
Usos.
Rikishi deserved at least
Yes.
one world title. Well, the Usos,
Which is how
were
much
like,
push that they got. They would
Rikishi's
be
already,
even
like,
more elevated
yeah,
if Rikishi got it. Like it would just feel right.
yeah,
He deserved it.
yeah. Rikishi, he deserved at least. Again, a product.
I did
I did it for The Rock.
I did it for the people.
That people.
He was he was one of those guys who suffered from
He
a
did.
stacked roster.
Definitely.
Now I am gonna say though,
Biggest.
the things he had going for him was it was completely gimmick, like the stink face and then the dance with Too Cool. I mean, that was the
Wait.
that was the gimmick he had. We also had on the socials we had Tommy Loftus.
Oh, hold on. Isaac, you have not seen. You know, you think Scotty Too Hottie killed the worm. You haven't seen a good worm until you
Oh
watch
my
Isaac
goodness.
Bocanegra
Only if he's
do a
doing it
worm.
down University Avenue though.
Yes, exactly. Only if he's
Long
doing
story
it down
there.
University.
Funny.
So also from the socials we had Tommy Loftus come through with Nia Jax. Here's the deal about Nia Jax.
Okay,
Nia Jax could get a great push. However, she's got to learn how to wrestle first.
Yeah.
The whole problem she's having is that she hurts people. And the reason you only saw her at the Rumble and only saw her for a few minutes is she's still in litigation because she hurt somebody in another promotion. So that she's not cleared until that's cleared up. She's not she's not cleared to wrestle in the WWE until that's cleared up.
there is one thing I can say about Nia Jax is without Nia Jax, we do not have the man Becky. Becky Lynch is a mid card performer without Nia
Shut your
Jax.
mouth.
And
Right
that
now.
is yet another Lil Guapo FMX, not your average Mark quote right there.
She's got to learn. She's got to learn the technical side of wrestling. She's got to learn how to protect the other person while she's doing moves because you start hurting people and nobody wants to work with her.
They don't got to do nothing. She's from the N.Y.A.M family or whatever. She don't got to do nothing. All right.
We've also on that list got Justin Gabriel. I don't know if either one of y'all remember Justin Gabriel or not.
I don't.
I remember him as part of the
And
Nexus.
he had a good
thought
run.
he
I
was
mean,
good.
he's beaten some big names. He beat Randy Orton. He's beat John Cena. He's beat Christian. I mean, he went through and did quite a few things. Wade Barrett. Speaking of the Nexus, Wade Barrett's on Tommy's list.
I agree with that one. What they totally missed by not putting the strap on Wade Barrett during his Bad News Barrett gimmick. They totally missed. That was so over. They definitely
And
missed out on
again,
some money there.
stacked roster. I feel like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
We had your
They missed out.
we had your
They definitely
hurdle
missed out.
buddy, Justin Dyer. Like you said earlier, he threw out Zack Ryder, Mustafa Ali. I mean, he can do big things. I don't think he will ever get above mid card though. I don't think he'll ever get above the U.S. title.
And
Dang.
I want to just look at the chat. Yes. PJ Black.
Yeah, that's Justin Gabriel.
is
He's
Justin
wrestling as
Gabriel.
PJ Black now.
And Mike seems to not be able to handle your hot take there about Becky.
Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin breaks my heart because they've run him through 1,700 different gimmicks.
Yep.
And he's so good in the ring. In the ring, he is so good. He is probably the complete opposite of Nia Jax. He is probably the safest worker you could get in the ring. But they've just killed him.
Now
with the
he's
gimmicks.
granted she's starting to get a push, but Justin's also got Liv Morgan on his list, and she wasn't doing much, but she's starting to get her push. It started in Money in the Bank.
Yep.
That's my opinion. She's starting to get her push, and something happened, and Little Guapo disappeared.
Yeah. Are you still there?
My
Hey,
camera
you're all good, man.
might be
Don't worry about it.
Okay,
You're
technical
more
difficulties.
not average
Camera
on the wrestling side, not the technical sides. That's his job.
now I'm gonna throw this out there. Manuel Marina Lorena, my boy.
Hey.
We came up together. He threw out one that it's you never got to watch him wrestle.
I did.
And you've watched video of him wrestling, but you never got to see it live. But Owen Hart. Owen Hart, yeah, R.I.P. He was a worker. Like he put people over. He never got over himself, but he put people over. And he was starting this push. You know, he had his whole thing, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. And he was starting this push when his tragic accident happened.
Yeah.
But I really believe he could have gone on to really big things.
And they totally missed out on again too that right after the whole Brett deal, Shawn and uh, Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart got into a mini feud, and they ended the feud like so abruptly to start a feud with Triple H, the Blue Blood, Hunter Hearst Helmsley at the time, and it just they totally missed out on an opportunity to have a big money match.
Speaking of money, welcome to the chat, Moneybag. What's happening?
To answer your question,
Money match.
what's going on? We're talking about
It's a
some
podcast.
underrated wrestlers,
We're not your average
but
marks,
I
my
think
boy.
We had talked about William Regal earlier. One thing we didn't discuss with him is without William Regal, there's no Triple H because he brought Hunter Hearst Helmsley to the WWE from, he was terrorizing and that didn't work in WCW. And so they made him Hunter Hearst Helmsley and he was doing his thing and they're like, okay, we're going to take you to WWE and you're going to be, what's your name, kid? Or no, this one was WCW. Like, what's your name, kid? He's like, my name's Paul. He's like, well, not anymore. Now you're French. Your name is Jean Paul. Jean Paul Levesque. That's your name. He's like, okay.
cool.
William Regal sees this, brings him over, changes his name to Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and forms the Blue Bloods. They're the aristocrats, and that was the start of Triple H.
And the face. He is the game.
That
wrestler.
doesn't happen without William Regal.
So,
And just to cap off the underrated wrestlers, because we really didn't touch into it, we just kind of mentioned them. William Regal, Prime Regal, dude,
yeah.
animal in the ring. You
Yeah,
talk about
man.
technical wrestlers. You talk about technical
Oh,
wrestlers. Go look at anything William Regal did in his prime.
he was great.
Clinic. Any role you put him in. You want him to do comedy, he's gonna kill it. You want him to be a serious heel, he's gonna kill it. You want him to be babyface, he's gonna kill it. You need an on-screen manager, he's gonna kill it. You need somebody to run your stable,
He's
gonna
got it all.
He's the utility player. I mean, that's what he is.
You're right. He really was. He was it's kind of ridiculous now I'm thinking about it with just watching some of the more modern wrestling. The stuff that he was doing in the ring was just so prime time material.
So I'm looking down at the clock, and we're gonna have to start wrapping it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out first to Bruss. Final thoughts.
For Elimination Chamber, gotta say real quick, S plus 100 out of 10. I just one of the best. Like I'm not lying. One of the best pay-per-views I've seen in years. If y'all haven't watched it, before y'all go and watch that footage of William Regal, watch the Elimination Chamber match if y'all haven't. It just every single bit of it was so amazing. And then on my underrated wrestlers, like I said, we talked about a lot that some names I hadn't heard before, some names I haven't heard in a long time. There was really some great takes there. I still think most underrated wrestler, Christian. I really do. That's
Yeah,
I really think
he's
he's
definitely
it.
one.
So we'll roll over to you now. What's your final thoughts?
Elimination Chamber was a banger PLE. I think these next 6 weeks leading up to Mania
Fantastic.
is going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot to talk about in the next 6 weeks. So tune in on Sundays because we're going to be going over it all, where we think it's going. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome 6 weeks, and I think this Mania is going to be awesome. As far as underrated wrestlers, we've had some great names on the list. I think there was only one I didn't agree with. Everything else, I completely agreed 100%.
Yeah.
For,
Now it's up to
for
you.
my final
What's
thoughts
your take?
as it pertains to Elimination Chamber, it was a great PLE, one of the best I've seen in a long time. But I do have to say something about the unsung hero of that PLE, and that's Triple H. And I know people are thinking, Triple H didn't even have a match. What are you talking about?
Yep.
Stop and think about for a second the fact that he's in Montreal, so they're already talking screw job because what happened, last time they had a big PLE in Montreal. So he's got to dance around that. He's got to figure out what to do. How do I make Sami Zayn be what he needs to be in front of his people?
That's still Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. That the way that Triple H built that, it was ridiculous. It was. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's
Oh
got
my
to dance around that. He's got to make sure the matches go the way they need to go. He's got to build all the storylines and still keep the crowd from rioting. So I have to give a shout out to Triple H for dancing that minefield and doing it well. As far as our list, goes,
Awesome
there were
job.
some names here that I hadn't thought about in a while, and it was good to see them on here. And the other thing is, I'm really, really happy to see the interaction on our socials.
Yes.
By all means, please, we're gonna have a poll up about what we're going to talk about this next week on Wednesday. Check the socials. Make sure you get your words in, get your thoughts in, so we can talk about them.
We appreciate all you guys that
Yes.
came into the chat. Let us know. Everybody who interacted.
Yep.
This was a popping
Thank-
chat
thank
this
you.
time.
Thank you to the
guys.
chat. Thank you to our new followers. Thank you to Ross and the guys from Labor 12 for our theme music. The song's called Head Rush. The Monsters is the name of the album. You can find it anywhere it's streaming. We will be back next weekend, 9 o'clock on Twitch, right here to do it all again. Thanks for being here, and thanks for letting us show you that we are not your average marks. See y'all next week.
A-Town down.